Okay, I'm live now. Everything's fucking right.
Is it though?
As
Are you sure?
right as it's gonna be. All right, so what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Sonic? And I figured we could talk about Sonic and Detective Pikachu like together.
Yeah, that works. Seeing as I'm ended up watching the Sonic movie because why not? So yeah, I'm ended up watching that, and I saw Detective Pikachu yesterday, Thursday, before we started recording this. Are you planning on seeing it?
No,
Really? You not like Pikachu?
I hate Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah,
That's un-American, my friend. It's un-American.
I
It's un-American.
is it though? Because it's
To
very
not
Japanese.
to not like the Japanese Pokemon. uh,
Um, yeah, I to me they're all, the games are all the same. Okay, hold on. I will say this: when Twitch first had Twitch Plays Pokemon, I was obsessed with it for like 2 days watching it because that
really?
was fascinating to me. Seeing all the people pushing all the different buttons and controlling the characters and stuff, and seeing how that all worked out. Like, I think if it, no matter what game it would have been, I would have been that way about it. But because it was Pokemon, so like that's as close as I've ever gotten to liking Pokemon.
Okay. Well, granted, Detective Pikachu is based off of the 3DS game, which isn't even in 3D, by the way. You can't. It runs only in 2D, so kind of pointless. But
Okay.
yeah. But it's based off of the game Detective Pikachu, which was not very good, by the way. The game actually kind of sucked. It was boring. It was bland. It
Well, like,
was
was it like Pokemon games?
no. It was
I don't.
complete.
I mean, it sounds like it wasn't like. I
No, it was,
mean, I'm sorry. What?
oh no, I was gonna say no. It's completely different.
Okay.
It's like it's different the same way Pokemon Dungeon is different from original Pokemon games. So, but
Okay.
yeah, you play as a human boy who is solving mysteries with this Pikachu. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I forgot the story because the game is just so boring and bland. It might have been the same as the movie where you have to find your father. I honestly don't even remember because it was really that bad. Cool concept where Pikachu can actually talk to Pokemon, and since you can talk to Pikachu, you can get clues from the Pokemon, you can get clues from the humans. I was like, that's a cool concept. I like that. That's awesome.
Like, so
Then,
I thought Pikachu's whole gimmick was that he could only say his own name.
well, yeah, and we don't know, and I'm sure that it might be explained in the game because I didn't finish it because it was that bad. But it might explain. But yeah, you can talk to this Pikachu. You can understand this Pikachu for some reason. And since
Okay.
and since Pikachu can talk to other Pokemon, you can get clues from both of them. It's like you talk to the humans, like what did you see? This, and that, and the other. And maybe their Pokemon saw something different because maybe they're in the sky or on the ground or they were doing something else. I forgot how that actually worked, but it was an interesting concept that didn't pan out so well for me.
Right.
And the movie follows the same thing. Interesting concept, doesn't really go anywhere with it. So Detective Pikachu, the movie, takes place in this large Pokemon human habitat hybrid called Rhyme City. And what's the boy's name? Tim. A kid named Tim. Well, he's not a kid. He's a grown adult. He lives on the outskirts and like pretty much nowhere, some small little town. And he gets news that his father is dead from a car accident. So Tim just goes to Rhyme City to go to his father's apartment and say goodbye and mourn and collect things or whatever, just things people do. Well, one night while he's going through his father's stuff, he finds these strange chemicals and he finds a Pikachu that he can talk to. That sounds like Ryan Reynolds. So together, Tim and Pikachu figures out that maybe Tim's dad isn't dead and that then they have to solve this mystery that the police has mysteriously just thrown out, despite the point that nobody was found.
Yeah.
So for like an hour and 40 minutes, I think is the length of the movie. An hour 30 something, an hour 40, I don't remember. It's Tim, Pikachu, a woman who wants to be a journalist, and her Psyduck.
This sounds very noir.
It tries to be. It has this kid friendly noir kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, everything's kind of like gritty and neon lights and cool looking. And I was like, this is pretty interesting. This is kind of cool. But soon after that, you start finding secret facilities and the forest and the riverbank. It's like, oh, but I'm all that noir detective grittiness things. There's no real detective work being done here. Everything is by chance. They find things by chance.
I mean, the idea of because noir stuff, a lot of times will end up with large corporation type stuff where people getting involved in high up powerful positions in companies and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you know what? This is no real difference. Once again, there's a big corporation behind all of it, and
yeah,
and everything is so predictable. Like honestly, it's not even really a spoiler. If you ever watched a movie ever that has something to do with mystery, Detective Pikachu hits all those points.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than once. Like there's the underground fighting with creepy underdealings. There's the secret facility, as I said before, with hidden secrets that was mysteriously shut down. And there's corporate cover up and all this other stuff. It's like, well,
yeah, this is a lot of this seems like a paint by numbers noir style detective movie.
It is.
I might actually like it because I'm a sucker for noir movies.
Well, see, I went and saw it because I thought maybe this would be interesting.
Yeah,
they do nothing. They do nothing really cool with the Pokemon except for one scene in the underground fight scene where they have these Pokemon using their powers to amplify music and act as bass.
All right.
And I was like, "Yo, this is cool. You're gonna do something creative with Pokemon." Because in the show, you see people use Pokemon in all kinds of creative, cool ways, like helping them cook, helping them rescue people, helping them heal people, helping them build things. In the movie, they did that one scene. I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay, we're gonna see how Pokemon and humans live together in Rhyme City." No, that's the coolest creative thing they've done. After that, you'll see a Charmander help somebody cook.
So, would you say that this movie or I assume that the reason why they're not gonna make a Pokemon movie is because they can't, at least not to do it justice. Most video game movies can't do justice to the source material. Would you say that this is at least how do I want to word this? Would you say that this is more in line with what the Detective Pikachu game is? Would you say people that do like that game will like this movie?
To be honest, I think the movie does a better job of being Detective Pikachu than the actual game.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
okay, but I mean, so then it pretty much stays right along with the game of what that game is supposed to be or whatever, right?
Yeah, of what it wanted to be.
Right. Okay.
It does this kid friendly detective thing, but it does it right, unlike the game, where it just felt like they were going through the motions even for kids.
Yeah.
With this one, you can tell there was effort put into this movie. It wasn't just thrown together. All the Pokemon got attention.
Yeah.
They all have that furry look to them, but even the ones in the background, they're still they seem alive, moving around the city. While they're walking, even Pokemon in the background, they're jumping on things to get around humans. They're crawling on their legs and
So was the game like that too?
Sort of. It had Pokemon running around, but they were mostly stagnant, just standing around.
Like I assume like even the other Pokemon games, because like you play as a human, and like I've seen like here and there I've seen things from the cartoon and stuff, and there's humans in it. So I mean, I guess like okay, because like other movies or constantly are like, hey, we're gonna take this cartoon character and put him in our world in New York City and comedy ensues. I assume that this is not at all that. Like this is all how it's supposed to be from the game, like the city and town and the people interacting with the Pokemon and stuff like that. It's not that bullshit gimmick of
I would say it's
like
both
just
actually.
shoehorning them into our society and
Well, okay, it's both, but without the shoehorning because they actually get creative. Like I said, they put effort into this. Like you can tell there was thought put into how the Pokemon would actually function in a human Pokemon hybrid world.
right, but like it's
like
meant to be that way.
right, exactly. Like you see a Machamp, no, I'm sorry, a Machoke, using his four arms to help control traffic. Like he'll use
Okay,
two,
yeah.
he'll use two, three of his arms to stop, and one arm to tell people to go. And it's like, okay, that's really cool. And everybody has like a partner Pokemon, where everybody has at least one Pokemon that stays with them, and they do jobs together. One police officer has Growlithe and other like canine type Pokemon. News reporters have these happy, colorful Pokemon that when you look at them, you see like joy, like you feel at ease. It's not like one of these Charizards, one of these tough looking Pokemon. And they assist them like, okay, that's cool. That makes sense that this person have this Pokemon. They show firefighters using Squirtles to help put out fires, while they're also next to the Squirtles using regular fire hose. So they're both actually contributing. So like that's really cool. But that's at the beginning of the movie. Once this noir thing starts in, once the detective work starts in, all of that goes out the window.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just establishing how the world works.
Yeah, and then they don't use that to their benefits because once the mystery starts, the Pokemon that are still in the background, but you can still see them and see how they operate. They're really in the background, just walking around and flying around, and they're not really doing as much. And once the mystery kicks off and Tim and Pikachu are going off and asking questions, they question maybe 4 or 5 people. And they get their answers so simply and quickly. You're like, you guys are really trying to rush us along, yet the movie still feel kind of slow at times. Like they'll do one set piece, like with Pikachu against Charizard, like we saw in the trailer. That's over and done so fast. And then we go back to Tim and Pikachu butting around, pretending that they don't like each other, or Tim doesn't like Pikachu, and Pikachu trying to get Tim to like him, and Pikachu always telling him, "We're detectives. We gotta solve this mystery. We gotta do this." It's like, wow, you guys could be doing some fun, creative things, but no, you're really trying to focus on these two. After they've already established Tim and Pikachu well.
Yeah,
they established them so well that you can stop with their backstories, and you can stop with them asking, talking about Pikachu's amnesia, because that's what this is all about. Pikachu is amnesia, and that's his mystery. No. And we find out that Pikachu and Tim's dad are connected because Pikachu is Tim's dad's partner. So now Tim and his dad's Pokemon has to figure out how Pikachu got amnesia, what happened to his dad, why doesn't the police look into the investigation, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And
you can predict who the main villain is as soon as they show him. As soon as he pops up on screen, bad guy. They try to set up some foreshadowing, and unfortunately it doesn't do a very good job of foreshadowing. And the twists are so dumb that not only were you able to predict them, but their explanation for when they actually reveal them, it leaves more questions. It's like, yeah, I figured this out 30 minutes ago, now your dumb explanation for why this happened raises more questions, especially at the end. Oh my
But only because
goodness!
of the
The end is what really sealed the deal. At first, I was like, yeah, this is serviceable.
yeah.
But there was one scene that took about like 5 or 10 minutes. It's supposed to be this big action set piece, but it's just this loud CGI mess that reminded me of Transformers.
Ugh.
And that shouldn't have happened. And I was like, why won't this
Yeah.
scene? I was like, why won't this scene end? Like, it should be done. But they drag it out, and it's just, it's wasted potential. Is basically what it is.
I wonder if some of that is like you said, it kind of is like slow and stuff, and it's like, all right, yeah, noir movies are can be slow and methodical and stuff like that, and
Right.
pacing, but this is a kids movie, so like it kind of does make me wonder why it would go so far into that. To like, you would think that they would always have something pacing it to keep kids engaged.
And see, that's the weird thing. They rely on Pikachu so much for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they really focus on Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu. And I think that's why it felt kind of slow, because the Ryan Reynolds Pikachu kind of wears out this welcome, and you want to see the other Pokemon. You're like, cool. I want to see my favorites. I want to see Diglett. I want to see Mew. I want to see all these other stuff. There's a character that shows up out of nowhere, and you swear she's part of Team Rocket, and I'm like, oh, okay. So are they involved? Because the mystery revolves around, and fans of the show and the shows and the movies, they're gonna recognize the symbol of Team Rocket, and it teases you with it, because you see the symbol, you're like, that looks familiar, and then this character pops up who looks like she's part of Team Rocket, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, only for her to turn around and be somebody else, and you're like, oh, you had me. You had me interested. You had me thinking you're going further into the Pokemon lore than just the game Detective Pikachu. No.
Well, would you say that maybe there is a chance that they will expand on this, and like, obviously not more detective stuff, but like maybe a sequel or a universe building type thing that might happen from this, that will explore more stuff outside of that, more of the other Pokemon and whatnot?
Yeah, apparently they had already planned a sequel before this one even came out.
Ooh,
so
that's brave.
Yeah, so
It's bold.
Yeah, so apparently they have faith in this, which I don't blame them. I mean,
it is Pokemon, and Pokemon is extremely popular, but I mean, video game movies are just,
they're bad. But I'm gonna admit, this Detective Pikachu, it's only disappointing because you can tell they put effort into it, and like they didn't half bake it. Like like Tim, the human character, they gave him a whole backstory, emotional and everything. Like, they put effort into this,
right?
and it's just,
Now,
man.
The kind of segue, would you say that they put more effort into this movie than they did the look of Sonic?
Oh, absolutely. Get the team who did the Detective Pikachu and let them do Sonic, because and I think that's what the biggest letdown with Sonic was. We saw what he looked like, and we can tell the Pokemon are CG, but they're given a realistic look to where it's stylish with the CGI scenes, so they blend in well with it.
You're right, and that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and because they use like real sound stages and certain buildings and stuff, it mixes in with the real life humans, so they don't always look like they're on a green screen. So it blends together seamlessly to where, okay, I can tell this Pokemon is CG, but they're done realistically enough to where I believe it's there.
Yeah.
And even when Tim is picking up Pikachu, or you see people interacting with their Pokemon, from time to time it looks kind of iffy, but most of the time it's like, yeah, he's actually holding Pikachu. But Sonic, we haven't seen any real interactions with them, so we don't even know how well Sonic interacts with his surroundings.
Well, the fact that Sonic looks like a hot fucking mess,
Well, they're gonna
just in general, tells me that everything is gonna look bad.
Well, they're gonna change him. So
yeah, they're gonna change him. I don't have any confidence in that. The fact that they came out with this Sonic, and like the fact that this all right, I have to assume that they were like, these are multiple choices of what we have for what we think the Sonic should look like in CG form, and someone said this one here. Like, what?
Yeah, apparently they didn't like. Apparently they didn't like the whole seamless one eyeball thing. So I guess that's why they really wanted to make him look more realistic. Oddly enough, which is why they had his eyes separated. But
I don't know how I feel about the eye separation per se, but they didn't make him look realistic. They made him look like a young boy who was like half-ass transformed into a fucking blue Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, it's like if Sonic the Hedgehog had sex with a human being, and this is the afterbirth of
the afterbirth. Wow, jeez, it's not
it's horrible.
It's not just the birth; it's the afterbirth.
It's like, just so fucking horrible looking. Like it's so bad.
I think it's because we're so used to Sonic being like this smoothish. Because I had the same issue with Pokemon. I so used to see him as this smoothish, unrealistic, animalistic thing that when they enter the real world, the fur kind of throws you off. Because Alvin and Chipmunks made sense. They're chipmunks.
Yeah.
We know what chipmunks look like when we see their fur. Sonic, we're not used to seeing him with fur. Pokemon, I swear not all Pokemon have fur. But according to this movie, every last one that they use has fur. So there's that.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably something that you can't really, like, Sonic didn't have fur either, at least in, like, cartoon or game worlds, you know, like, they didn't draw any of it to look like fur, I would say. Yeah. It's implied, like, with, I mean, like, now, like, Pikachu, looking at the picture of Pikachu, I think they did a good job at the CGI look of Pikachu. He looks like Pikachu.
Yeah,
in a CGI / real world thing where Sonic doesn't. Like, that's not what Sonic should look like.
I think the problem is
in a CGI form.
Yeah, he still looks too CG, and I think that's the problem with Pokemon. You got used to it because they look CG, but have realistic properties. Yeah. Sonic, he just looks like a cartoon running around with humans. And while that worked for stuff like Roger Rabbit, like when you're trying to make it realistic like this, you either make it fully realistic or just make it a cartoon, man. And I wish they stuck with the cartoon.
Yeah, if they would have went with a cartoon, I don't think anyone would have had a problem with it. I don't know.
They would, because the Sonic Boom cartoon, people had issues
because of his arms.
The bandages, the handkerchief.
Okay, I'm not. What I'm saying is, like, people would, like, if they would have made him a cartoon.
It wouldn't be this big of a stink.
I don't think it would have been.
Yeah, I'd been like, okay, this is a different universe Sonic. This is something else.
I mean, that's why they're going to change it. Like, I haven't seen. I don't know if they have showed any images of them changing anything, but I guarantee you he's going to have bigger eyes, probably closer together, and it's probably going to, even though it's still going to be CG, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more in line with the cartoonish looking version of Sonic. I mean, this just looks like a fucking young boy in some kind of cosplay. Like, the eyes are small and beady. Like it feels like they were like too afraid to go too big with the eyes, and they shouldn't have been.
It's probably somebody's Sonic persona.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the mouth. Like, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Dream and like his mouth just looks like a regular mouth, and like the nose looks fake and like on a person.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like they use one of those old school techniques where they superimpose the mouse on a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it looks really,
I mean,
really off.
and I don't know what hedgehogs look like, but like you look at like the Pikachu one, like you can see where like the mouth is kind of like cat-like with the way that the nose has that line that connects to the mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's probably something they should have done more with Sonic, is make his mouth and nose. I don't know if they connect in real life, with hedgehogs, but make it more animal looking instead of human.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Sonic himself, I'm sorry, he does not look like a daggone hedgehog. If you
probably not, yeah.
No, like I've seen, like, people have shown hedgehogs. I've seen pictures of hedgehogs and how they run.
I mean, I'm sure I've seen pictures of hedgehogs.
Oh right, yeah, I've seen one in real life.
Of one off the top of my head.
Right. I can see them because I like this little video with this little hedgehog that's just running around the corner, and Sonic looks nothing like that. Cartoon Sonic, video game Sonic, this Sonic. If you show Sonic the Hedgehog to anybody who has no idea who Sonic the Hedgehog is, and just say this character's name is Sonic, what kind of character you think he is, nobody would say Hedgehog. Nobody would know that. Because hedgehogs have pointy little furs on their backs. They're just furry little...
They tried that. I mean, like, Sonic in general is a very slimmed down cartoon, like, of a hedgehog, I guess you could say. Like just like he has those like spikes on his back, but like they're like big, bulky spikes.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of detail there.
It's very Japanesey. They love their spiked hair.
Yeah,
so it's definitely very Japanese like. But what was I gonna say? It had in the comics they actually they had this cool explanation for why he looks like that. He used to be
really?
Yeah, he used to be this brown hedgehog with all those spikes on his back. So he actually looked like a real hedgehog. And what was it? He was working with Robotnik, and somehow it transformed him into the blue hedgehog that we know and made him faster.
Okay.
So yeah, like I might have it wrong too. I might have just had pieces, but yeah, I wish I could find that comic.
Because Sonic doesn't need a backstory. Like he's just he's a cartoon. He's a video game. This is what he like. I mean, like Crash Bandicoot. We don't need an explanation. We've never gotten an explanation of why Garfield can, he doesn't act like a cat. We don't need some kind of backstory of why these characters are the way they are.
Yeah. Although it depends which Sonic you use. I like the Sonic with the Rebels and the war against Robotnik, and with Princess Acorn. Damn it, what was her name?
See, you're like way out of my element. Like
Sally.
I stopped at the second game.
Okay, well, this is more the cartoon and the comics.
All right.
Sally, I'm pretty sure her last name was Acorn, but her name is Sally. She's actually this really badass princess who becomes a warrior, and she leads this this rebellion against Robotnik, and Sonic actually falls in love with her. And I think those two actually become a thing for a while, because all those annoying characters that people don't like in the video games, like Sonic's friends, in the comics, a lot of them are actually pretty cool. And like, you got Tails the mechanic. He has his own. Tails has his own team of air fighters, and it's just like, why can't we get more of this in the game? But no, we get Sonic Boom, and yeah, Sonic.
I mean, it's. I mean, on one hand, I'm like, you got to do something. So yeah, like different comics and cartoons and stuff.
Then go with the comics. I wish they did that. I wish they just the animated version of some of the comics, because some of those comics have some of the coolest stories. So much so, if you're a Sonic fan, you stop playing the Sonic games and focus purely on the comics, you're gonna get a better Sonic the Hedgehog. And and also doesn't help that I don't really care for the games. Like,
I don't either. Like I've always maintained that the last good Sonic game was Sonic 2. Like I don't like any of the other games really.
Yeah, I like
the later versions.
Yeah, I like Sonic the character, but the games, it says something when my favorite Sonic games are the go-kart ones. Sonic's go-kart games are fun. Sonic Racing is awesome, and I'm actually looking forward to the new one.
Have they said what they're gonna do with the movie? Like what the story's gonna be like? Is it gonna be something more game related or comics or cartoon related?
No. Sonic finds a way into our world.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
yeah, and the army or the military, they find Robotnik, and they ask him to find and stop Sonic because I guess it's some energy level from Sonic. I don't know, man. It's not really clear. The point is, the U.S. government wants to capture Sonic, and they hire Robotnik to come and capture him.
That's just the dumbest thing. I'm so like we talked about this last week too. Like this idea of bringing characters into our world is dumb. Like especially when you have these worlds that are interesting and fantastical as like the Sonic world is or the the Smurfs world is and stuff like that. Like
yeah. I don't understand. I think they keep doing it because it's probably cheaper. Like, let's just spend all the money on CGI Sonic. Like, we can get a tax break if we I don't know, go to Colorado and film here on this dirt road. Like,
yeah,
okay. Like, it seems kind of cheap, and at the same time, it's like you really spent a lot of money on not only the license, but creating this horrific CGI character.
Like, just that. I mean, like, it's very. Like, okay, I don't want to use this to segue into talking about He-Man, but like, I feel like like in the 80s and even 90s, like before internet, like stuff like this would happen, and it's not surprising because it's a bunch of fucking people that don't know anything, But it's today's world, like there's so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Like just kind of cohesiveness that's like mixed together with fans reactions and opinions and stuff like that with what happens with movies and stuff like that. That something like this I could understand happening back in the 80s or 90s, but now, like this idea, I mean, like maybe this is all part of why it's happening the way it is because they're like, what do you guys think of this? And everyone's like, get Satan out of here. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna redo him. This is this is just a test." I don't know. I just can't. It's just like my mind is just boggled by the idea of like they're like, huh? You like this? Huh? Like, what were they fucking thinking? Like, who thumbs up this? Like, I want to know. I want to know the entire fucking process from pen to paper drawing to this, and someone was like, "That's the one." Because like I said, they had to have had more than one. There's no way they were like, "First try, this is it. What do you think? Yes, go with it." Like they had to have a number of 3, 4, 5, 6 different versions of what they wanted to do with Sonic, and they were like, "This is the one we're gonna go with."
I want to see all of them. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the team to do what the Spider-Man into Spider-Verse team did and just like show off all kinds of stuff.
Like all the concept art, everything. Like I want to see all of it.
Yes, I want to see the concept art. I want to see I want to see the alternative version of this Sonic that we got. Cuz like sometimes what they do is like the final version is probably like they change one or two things, like put one more spike here or get rid of the gloves and just make his hands white and it still looks the same. I want to see every alternative version of the final version we got.
There could be a more cartoony CGI version of him that they just decided not to go with because they would think people wouldn't like it because it was so cartoony that it would be too abstract. Clash with the real world.
So you think they actually went as far as to like make full blown models of these things?
Well, no, I mean like.
Because sometimes they do that. They'll make a model and test out animations.
Yes, they could have done that too. But I'm just talking about like just there could be one of the concepts could be a very, big, huge eyes pushed together,
Yeah.
cartoony arms, being whatever color, I don't care, but like more disconnected and not pushed together or anything like this into a big fur ball. Like just a
Right.
more cartoony, rounder stomach area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that there has to be a much more cartoony looking CGI version of this, or whatever, or at least a concept on paper of that. And someone was like, people probably wouldn't like that because I don't know. They'll say we're ripping off Roger Rabbit or something like that.
Right. Oh,
And so that's why they went with this. Is they were trying to make something that was more humanoid.
I want to see these so bad. I wonder if I can get in contact with any of the artists or the modelers, and when they're allowed to share that stuff, when if they actually talk about it.
Yeah, if they do, it'll probably be like some special feature on the.
I want to see it. Oh, actually, you brought up so you're not gonna go see the Sonic movie? You're gonna make me watch it alone?
No. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
I have no interest in watching it.
Come on. You already skipped out on Pikachu.
Yeah.
It's 1 to 2, man. You got to get into it.
I don't like any of this stuff. I mean, at least Sonic. The only thing Sonic has is, like I said, I like the first 2 games. They're fun. They're awesome.
Well, how do you feel? Well, how do you feel about He-Man?
Oh, speaking of He-Man,
Yeah. So
I am a huge fan of He-Man.
right. Last week we actually had a discussion about He-Man and She-Ra. Right. We talked about She-Ra, and you talked about how you didn't care for She-Ra, and that's all right.
Well, I liked the old cartoon of She-Ra,
Right.
but I had no interest in the new one. Like, it just looked too ugly and cartoony. Cartoon's probably not the right word because the old ones were cartoony looking, but
yeah, but they went with those hyper realistic looking kind of humans.
Yeah.
Where it's like it comes out of the comic book, and probably because it was like easier to animate or something. I don't really know.
yeah.
But yeah, we talked about She-Ra last week, and you brought up to me today about casting choices for He-Man, or at least is it a final casting or is it just a rumor?
As far as I know, it's confirmed.
Okay, I'm looking at the link that you just sent me.
I'm trying to look at it.
That actor Noah Centineo, man, I bet I'm butchering that last name, has reportedly been cast to play He-Man. Oh, so Sony is producing this movie. So maybe it'll be animated, because Sony Animation has been on fire lately. They've been doing some great stuff.
I guess so. That is a possibility. I finally able to get to work. Yeah, I don't know. I like looking at this kid. I'd never seen him act. He was in the movie or TV show that was called To All the Boys I've something before.
Huh. Oh, okay. Well, here's the interesting thing. Apparently the movie's being written by Art Markham and Matt Holloway, who apparently wrote Iron Man. And a lot of people think Iron Man 1 is still the best Iron Man. So, hey, I guess they'll do something. Like, I never understood He-Man, so I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
I don't know. Like most of the stuff is just people tweeting about not being happy about it.
Yeah. Then again, people are never happy about anything.
I mean, yeah, like.
But with that said, looking at the picture of this guy, I really am hoping he's just playing the kid version before he gets
Prince Adam version.
Yeah, before he gets what's the name of that sword? Does it have a name?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it does.
Yeah, but
Like I
before
haven't
just
seen
enjoy.
anything He-Man in a very, 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 very long time.
Well, the
And
thing
like as
is,
much as I am a fan of the cartoons, and like I said last week when we were talking about this and She-Ra, um, I'm sure if I was to watch the cartoons now, I wouldn't like it.
well, the
But
thing
like, so
is,
yeah,
yeah, the the shows and the movies that they try to do, they haven't done anything with the He-Man property in who knows how decades
there is
anymore.
comic books. There is like
They,
Injustice versus Masters of the
so they
Universe.
still wait. So did they still make actual He-Man comics?
Yeah,
Oh, see, I didn't even know he had a
I
comic out.
now I don't know how long ago. Like, because I rarely get into comic books anymore and haven't for a very long time. Also with that, but I believe it was recent, within I'd say the last 6 months to a year, that they did Injustice versus Masters of the Universe, which was I believe taking the Injustice comic book DC
Oh
line and
goodness,
mixing it with Masters of the Universe or something like that.
why?
I don't know.
Why is this
The same reason why they
man?
did fucking DC versus Mortal Kombat, I guess.
But that made sense. They were all fighters. I mean, he meant yeah, sure they're warriors, but they're not like Superman level or anything like that. Whatever.
Have you? Okay, yeah, we're talking about. I believe He-Man stopped a meteor by just punching it. Like,
What?
yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, this is cartoon, so I don't know. Again, I don't know the relationship from the comic books to the cartoons.
Right. See, I
But
know.
I mean,
See, I know nothing of He-Man. I just know of Gray Skull.
He's
I have the
super.
power, and even
Yeah,
his cowardly cat thing gets transformed into like this ferocious beast.
yeah,
And
exactly.
She-Ra
Yeah.
is his half sister, or
Either sister or half sister.
okay,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah, like they're siblings in a way, and there's
Maybe
this.
even cousins, actually.
Oh, might be. I don't know. Well, they're related, and there's like this weird floating magician thing that has no face, and all you see is his
Oh
eyes.
yeah,
And there's some mystical goddess who turns into a bird. That's all I know of He-Man.
yeah. Oracle, I think, is the name of the floating no face.
No, I was
The
like,
Empress or something like that is. I don't. Yeah, a lot of that's lost on me. Like now,
yeah,
but I mean,
apparently not this new kid.
yeah. I mean, like I said, like I haven't seen him act, so I can't. I'm not gonna make any judgments on that. But just look wise, yeah, he doesn't look like someone that I would pick to play He-Man. If they do have him as Prince Adam, I wonder what they're gonna do. Are they gonna do like a Shazam type thing where they have someone totally different play He-Man, or have him very CGI? Like he's not like some big buff guy. I mean, Dolph Lundgren, when he played He-Man, like he was strong and buff to a point. He wasn't cartoony about it at all. But he's a very tall guy. He is very strong. So like he was a decent pick to play He-Man. Like the Masters of the Universe movie from the '80s. There's a lot of shit wrong with it, but I would say the least of all that was wrong with it was picking Dolph Lundgren to play He-Man.
Right.
So yeah, like this kid, I don't know. Just
Plus, who'd you say was playing He-Man? Is it
in the old movie,
Yeah,
Dolph Lundgren.
yeah. At least Lundgren. At least like he was popular back then, so you can see him as He-Man.
Yeah.
It's like okay, cool. You got the like, man. If He-Man had a bit of a tan, they would have gotten Dwayne Johnson to play the character.
Oh, that would have been a bad choice though. Even still, for a second there, I even thought John Cena. That would have been even worse.
John Cena. They got Jason Statham. What
Jason Statham is pretty average, I would say, in size.
body type? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like again, like
They could always-
Dolph Lundgren is a pretty average. Like the thing about Dolph Lundgren is, I think he's like very tall. I think he's like 6'5" or some shit. He's a tall
Yeesh.
dude, I think. And he is muscle bound.
Right.
But I mean, I'm trying to think like who could they get that's. I mean, Tom Hardy, but he's short. But like the way they made him look very buff in Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, like it could work. But the problem with that is like if I remember right, they had him standing on something that seemed taller than Christian Bale.
Okay, so
when they were standing next to each other.
Okay, so yeah, here's I'm actually gonna send this to you. Somebody posted a picture of He-Man 1987 version, and the kid who's actually I can't remember his name.
I'm looking at like in the article, like the first tweet that someone shows is the kid standing next to it.
Yeah.
Next to that same picture of Dolph Lundgren. But like you look at him and it's like, he's a good look for He-Man. Dolph Lundgren was.
Right. I mean, I could never see it. But with the new guy, well, I think he's gonna I think they're gonna have him play Prince Adam. Because he looks the type. He looks the type to who you can look at as like, okay, he's a pretty boy. He looks like a prince. And
sure, yeah.
Yeah. And then later on,
we're basing this entirely off looks, or at least I am, because again, I have not seen this dude act at all. So.
Right, but right now that's all we can do is because
and we don't know what they're gonna do. Like,
yeah,
I hope they don't CGI him or something.
Yeah, we don't even know. We don't even know if it's gonna be live action or it's just gonna be a voice actor.
And who knows? Yeah, I mean, it could end up being a CGI or animated type thing of some type. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. As far as I know, it's going to be live action. I think that's the whole thing that they were shooting for. And like, who knows? Maybe like Christopher Reeves, like when they wanted him to be Superman, but he was so scrawny that they were like, we can't have him be Superman. Like as much as we like him and his acting, for Superman. He's a small guy, and he went and worked out a bunch and got really buff to play Superman. And so who knows? Like, maybe this kid will do that. Maybe he's going to go do a bunch of working out and
he gets super buff.
Yeah. Eat a bunch of protein. And...
Yeah. That's going to be his whole life. Oils and protein.
He can go into wrestling afterwards.
Hey, there you go. You can do a reverse Batista.
Yeah.
Go from acting to wrestling. There you go, man. Yeah, so there's no story, no nothing. It's just, hey, we might pick this kid. Okay.
I mean, like, and I don't know. I see a bunch like people saying like, oh, the Snowflake Beta Social Justice Warrior version. I'm like, I don't know why these people are saying stuff like that. Like, I don't know if this movie that he was in was some kind of politically correct type movie or something like that.
No,
I don't know.
You're talking about the All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Yeah,
I think it's just some run of the mill romance movie. I haven't seen it,
I don't know shit about it. Like I've heard of it before this, but it was never on my radar at all. So I don't know anything about it.
Apparently, it did well enough. I think it's getting a sequel. So
okay.
Or it might be a second season. No, I don't even know if this is a movie or a show, but yeah, it's on Netflix. We can check it out later and see how this guy acts, but I'm not gonna sit through that. I don't care. Yeah, just for a rumor, for like this might happen. No, I'm not going into that nonsense.
Like this isn't the same article, I don't think, as I seen before. I think that was like a Hollywood Insider or something like that. I don't remember, but the way I read that one, if I remember right, like they were like, yeah, he's doing it. He's playing it.
Oof. That's rough.
I don't know. He does not.
He doesn't look the part. You know what else is rough?